All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper.
Oh, this is a classic.
It really is Bitcoin. A peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
From 2008, can you believe it?
It's amazing how relevant it still is.
Right, like Satoshi had a crystal ball, saw all the headaches we'd have with online payments.
You know, it's funny you say that because I've always wondered, why do we even need banks for online transactions?
That's the question, isn't it?
Like, why can't I just send money directly to someone?
Well, that's precisely the problem Satoshi addresses.
Okay, lay it on me.
Every online purchase, it's all this trust, right? Your bank, their bank, the processor, every step adds friction. Every step's a potential point of failure.
Ugh, tell me about it. Disputes, delays, fees. It's a nightmare sometimes.
And Satoshi was like, nope, what if we just get rid of all that?
Cut them out?
Boom, gone. Enter the electronic coin.
Okay, so like a digital token I can just hand over.
Exactly. Peer-to-peer, no middleman.
But wait, if it's just a file, couldn't someone copy it, spend it twice?
Ah, the double spending problem?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Bitcoin's got this figured out.
How? Magic.
Kinda. Cryptography and distributed consensus. Hear that and you know it's serious.
Cryptography, I kind of get. Vaguely. Distributed consensus, that sounds intense.
It's basically every Bitcoin transaction is a signature.
A signature?
Yeah, like on a contract, but digital, added to this chain.
Huh.
And this chain, we call it the blockchain, it's like a public ledger, records every Bitcoin transaction ever.
So everyone has a copy of this thing?
Yep. In a sense, that's the beauty of it.
But who's in charge then? Who updates it, makes sure no one's messing around?
That's the brilliant part. There isn't one person in charge.
No one?
Nope. Instead, it's a network of computers, nodes, all working together.
Okay, hold on. A whole bunch of computers. That sounds like a recipe for chaos, frankly.
I know, right? But stick with me. There's two key things that make it work. Timestamping and proof of work.
Timestamp, that's just putting the date on something, right? Digital date?
Basically, yeah. But it's more than that.
Couldn't someone just change the timestamp?
You got it. That's where proof of work comes in, or POW for short.
POW. Okay, sounds important.
It is. It's the heart of Bitcoin's security. Makes the whole thing revolutionary.
All right. I'm intrigued. What is this proof of work?
Imagine a giant Sudoku puzzle, but digital, decentralized. Every node in the network is racing to solve it.
Ooh.
And the solution, we call it a nonce, it takes a ton of computing power to find it.
So it's like a computational arms race. Whoever has the fastest computers wins.
In a way, yes. The winner gets to add the next block of transactions to the blockchain. That's the mining everyone's talking about.
Ah, mining makes sense now. Why all this effort, though? Seems incredibly resource intensive.
It is, but that's the point. The effort makes it secure. To cheat, you'd need more computing power than everyone else combined.
Yeah, no one's got that kind of juice lying around.
Exactly. It's a deterrent, keeps the bad guys away.
But hold on, what's stopping someone with a lot of computing power, like a lot, from just mining a ton of blocks, getting all the Bitcoin?
That's where the economics come in.
Economics.
Miners get rewards, sure, but they also collect transaction fees.
So it's like they're incentivized to play by the rules.
Exactly.
It's a self-regulating system. Everyone benefits if the system stays healthy. Okay, starting at the big picture now. Proof of work for security, mining to incentivize participation. But man, all this talk about blocks and chains, my head's spinning a little.
It's a lot, I know. But the elegant part is how it all fits together.
I hope so.
And wait till we get to Merkle trees. That's how Bitcoin tackles storage and scalability.
Merkle trees. Sounds like something out of a fantasy novel.
It's kind of magical, actually. It's how we manage this ever-growing blockchain.
Okay, I'm picturing a giant digital forest now.
Not quite. Think more like a family tree, but for transactions. We can check if a transaction is legit without needing all the details.
So like a compressed version of the blockchain.
Exactly. And to save even more space, we can prune old blocks.
Prune, like a garden.
Kind of remove details we don't need anymore.
But wouldn't that mess things up?
Not at all. The block's hash stays the same. It's like its digital fingerprint.
Okay, so the security stays intact.
Exactly. We free up space without compromising the system.
That's pretty slick.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I actually use this thing? Like verify payments without running a full node?
Excellent question. Brings us to simplified payment verification.
Simplified. That sounds good to me.
We'll dig into that in part 2 of our deep dive.
So simplified payment verification, that's where we left off.
Right. SPV, it's for the rest of us, the non-hardcore Bitcoin folks.
Glad to hear it. But if I'm not checking everything myself, how do I know my payments are actually, secure?
It's kind of like, think of a book's table of contents.
Okay.
You want to find a chapter? You don't need to read the whole book, right?
Makes sense.
SPVs like that, you check if your transaction's in the right block. No need to download the entire blockchain.
So I'm trusting that the block is legit.
That's where the network consensus comes in. Remember all that computational power we talked about?
Yeah, the mining, the proof of work.
Exactly. To fake a block that everyone would accept, practically impossible.
So I'm trusting the network, basically, to keep things honest.
You got it. Plus, your SPV client can double-check with multiple nodes, just to be extra sure.
Okay, that makes you feel better. But what about, if I'm sending a bunch of small payments or pooling money with friends? Can Bitcoin handle that?
Oh, absolutely. Bitcoin transactions, they can have multiple inputs and outputs.
Inputs, outputs, sounds complicated.
It's not so bad. Think of it like a digital wallet, multiple compartments.
Okay, I like that.
Each compartment's a certain amount of Bitcoin. You can combine them, split them, however you need.
So I could pay for my half of the pizza with Bitcoin.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. But there's something we should talk about now.
What's that?
I know you've probably heard concerns about privacy.
Oh yeah, if it's all public, all my transactions out there for everyone to see.
It's not quite like that. The blockchain is public, yes, but identities aren't directly linked.
Wait, really?
Yeah, instead of names, we use addresses, like long strings of characters.
So, my secret code.
Exactly. Your public key, and it's good practice to use a new one for each transaction.
Like a burner email address for Bitcoin.
Basically. It makes it way harder to track everything back to you.
That's a relief. But hold on, even with all that, couldn't someone with enough resources, try to rewrite the blockchain?
You're getting to the heart of Bitcoin's security model.
Okay, hit me with it.
Satoshi called it a binomial random walk.
Oh, math terms.
It's not so bad. Imagine a race, right?
Okay.
The honest network, all that combined computing power, it's got a huge head start.
They're in the lead.
Big time. And the attacker, they're trying to catch up, create their own chain faster.
That's gotta be tough.
It is. Every new block the honest network adds, the attacker's chances get slimmer and slimmer.
So the longer it goes on, the harder it gets.
Exactly. Like climbing a mountain that gets steeper with each step.
Okay, I can visualize that. But what if they do get ahead? Just for a little bit. Could they mess things up then?
Yeah.
Reverse transactions or create Bitcoin out of thin air?
Here's the thing. Even if they get ahead, they still have to play by the rules, the Bitcoin protocol.
No cheating.
Nope, the network wouldn't accept it. Imagine a chess game, you capture the queen, awesome, but you still gotta follow the rules of chess.
So it's not just about power, it's about playing fair.
Exactly, and fairness is enforced by the whole network, the consensus.
I see, so even if someone's super powerful, they can't just do whatever they want.
That's the beauty of it.
Wow, it really is an intricate system, but kind of elegant too, when you think about it.
Right. It's this balance, cryptography, game theory, economics, all working together.
Makes you appreciate the genius of Satoshi, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But I think it's time we shifted gears a little.
Okay, where are we headed?
We've covered the tech, the nuts and bolts, but what about the bigger picture? The impact of all this?
Yeah, that's what I'm really curious about. What does Bitcoin mean for the world? All right, bigger picture time. We talked about how Bitcoin works, but what does it mean for the world?
It's a revolution, no doubt about it, how we think about money, finance, the whole system.
Yeah, I feel that. There's a buzz, like something big is happening.
And one of the most exciting things is financial inclusion.
Financial inclusion.
Giving everyone access, right? Financial services, regardless of where you are, your background, all that.
Okay, so people who can't get bank accounts or live in places with unstable currencies.
Exactly. Bitcoin can level the playing field.
That's powerful. Imagine sending money across borders instantly, no crazy fees, no banks taking a cut.
That's the vision. Empowering individuals, unlocking economic growth in places that traditional finance has ignored.
I can see that. But it's more than just sending money, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think microtransactions, paying for tiny things online, things that were too expensive to process before.
That's always bugged me. Why do I need a whole subscription just to watch one episode of a show?
Right. Microtransactions could change how we consume content. So much potential.
And what about, donations?
Yeah.
Giving to charity?
Bitcoin can streamline that too. Cut out the middleman again, put donors directly in touch with the causes they care about.
So it's all about cutting out the middleman, giving power back to individuals.
That's a big part of it, and it goes even further. Think decentralized finance, DeFi.
DeFi, that sounds futuristic.
It kind of is. Lending, borrowing, trading, even insurance, all without the traditional institutions.
Wow, a whole financial system running on Bitcoin.
It's still early, but that's the idea. A parallel system built on transparency and decentralization.
It's mind-blowing, but okay, gotta ask, what are the downsides? There's gotta be some, right?
Of course, nothing's perfect. One big one is energy consumption. Remember proof of work?
Yeah, all those computers churning away, gotta take a lot of juice.
It does, and that's a valid concern. Sustainability is important. But the community's working on it, more efficient algorithms, renewable energy sources for mining.
That's good to hear. What about security? We talked about hacking, but scams, theft, that kind of thing.
It's like any form of value, there's always risk. Gotta be smart, use reputable exchanges, secure your wallets properly.
So buyer beware, even in the Bitcoin world.
Absolutely. But the good news is regulation is catching up, consumer protection measures are evolving, governments are figuring out how to balance innovation with safety.
Makes sense. It feels like we're still in the early days, a lot to figure out.
We are, definitely. But that's what makes it so exciting. The potential is huge.
So, big question. Do you think Bitcoin ultimately force for good or bad?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it has the potential to be a powerful tool for good.
Okay, I like that. How so?
Empowering individuals, financial inclusion, driving innovation. We're already seeing glimpses of that.
It's definitely thought-provoking, all this, even with the challenges, the complexities. What's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all this?
Stay curious, stay informed, don't be afraid to ask questions, dig deep. Bitcoin rewards those who put in the effort.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This deep dive, it's been a journey, really opened my eyes to what Bitcoin is all about.
Glad to hear it. And remember, the world of Bitcoin, it's constantly changing. Always something new to learn.
That's the truth. Well, to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Bitcoin.
It's been a pleasure sharing this with you.
We hope you learned something, got inspired, maybe even a little bit excited about the future of finance.
Because who knows what's next? The possibilities are endless.
That's what makes it all so fascinating. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.